breaths. Can you hear me, Mara? Because it said I was muted. Okay, good. Okay. Focus on that breath coming in through your body and filling your being, regenerating, renewing, and refreshing you from this day. And release anything that hasn't served you throughout the day or the days before us, before this moment in time, this present gift of God. Dear Mother, Father, God, creator of all things, I ask you to intercede in this session, allowing us to hear and speak your wisdom, being conduits of your grace and your glory and your unconditional love. I ask the angels of the four directions to come stand sacred circle around this gathering. Michael from the east to protect and guide. Uriel from the south to bring your unconditional love and light. Raphael from the west to bring your divine healing and joy and peace. And Gabriel from the north to bring your divine message of clarity and wisdom. All archangels in attendance, I thank you as well for guiding us, being ever watchful, and working with us in this partnership on this mission to allow the children of tomorrow a peaceful, joyous existence. May we, in this time of Mercury being retrograde, watch our tongues, hear our thoughts, and wisely speak them, detached from any emotion, because in this time, the fire signs rule. With wisdom and experience, we can transform any energy into the most positive, loving light. I ask your assistance for each and every one of us here to keep that in mind, guiding us in peace and positivity on this, our divine journey. And so it is, and so we are, and so it shall be. Amen. All right, well, that certainly heated me up. I don't know about you guys. So welcome. This is a whirlwind. I know for some of you, closing out 2 classes. I'm really curious to see how you're doing because of that, because I can imagine how that's feeling. So before I get into any of the questions that came up, because I see that most of them are surrounding what group 1's working on with reincarnation or the past life. Does anybody from group 2 who had the double lesson this past week, can anyone raise your hand and speak about your experience with having to do 2 lessons? Anybody? Before I pick on you. Charlene, can you unmute yourself?
Yep. So I think my experience showed up mostly in my ability to get caught up in the moment and not be so grounded. I think I was trying to run on a little bit extra speed getting through things. Mm-hmm. And as a result, I forgot to stay grounded in making a decision, and I just went boom off, and I got caught up in all kinds of other people's opinions, and I just lost track of myself. So otherwise, I mean, it felt like everything was going well for my lessons themselves. I just think I didn't do a good job of anchoring myself.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you to elaborate on that. Being caught up in the moment is usually being centered and grounded presently, but it sounds like you were being caught up in everybody else's moment or being pulled into their stuff. So
that's better.
Okay, good. How about anyone else want to share their experience of 2 lessons this week? How about you, Sean? How can you?
There we go. sorry. Um, like Lady Charlene, I found myself getting my energy pulled, but once when I got down and I was kind of tired and worn out and I got headaches, and I kind of thought, well, there are a lot of energy vampires around me. And I think it was because I felt like the past two assignments were kind of going simultaneously. It kind of seemed like they were going together in some way, just here and there. Like right after I wrote my essay, all of a sudden some other stuff came up, and it was like, kind of blows my mind sometimes, and I have to remember myself, anchor myself, make sure I put my pyramid around me before I go to work, because there's so many in retail. You know, you have so many at you in the holiday season, and just a lot of stuff. But I found once I slowed myself down, it was fine. I just felt okay. Even when there was chaos behind me, I found myself humming and da 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 da, kind of doing my own thing. And I was like, wow, it is my thought that goes about my day. You know, if I'm thinking crappy and oh, this day is going to be hard and all these people are coming at me and I was just freaking out, I was freaked out. But the moment I grounded myself and said, nah, no one's going to die if I don't give them, you know, their cake just right, or today, you know. So I got myself centered, and it was a breeze, and the day went good.
Good.
So, but I could feel the energies of both my assignments kind of playing itself out, and I kind of felt like I would step back and I could see them going in front of me too at times. I'm like, okay, as long as I slow myself down, I can keep up, you know.
Right.
If I kind of go rushing, then I mess up.
All of you in group 2 should be really mindful over these next so many weeks of eating very cleanly, drinking a lot of water. And the reason being because energetically you're amping twofold. You know, it's not just 2 lessons, it's twofold, which means it doubles over on itself. I would also suggest, instead of doing both simultaneously through the 2 weeks, pick one to do 1 week and then the other one to do the other week. And just double the instructions. Do everything in the 1 week. That may help settle you a little bit. Did you want to add something?
Yeah, I wasn't doing. I did it 1 week at a time. They were just wanting to come together, it seemed. So I had to keep saying, no, this week I'm doing this. You know, I'm like, hey, I'm going to get you next week. You know, so because I kind of went, okay, I'm going to have this next week. I'm going to have this. And that was because I'm just that way, being a type A. I have to have everything in order. And, you know, I'm getting my stuff together. But they just wanted to creep in together, it seemed, and kept on playing out in front of me. And I kept on having to ground myself and say, no, this isn't the time for this right now. I have to learn this. I was really mindful of the things I was saying and doing. You know,
that's really good, because you're actually putting the lessons into your life. I mean, that's exactly what words of power. Think about what part of what that's the last lesson, right? You just did words of power. Yeah. So these lessons, and I'm glad you described it the way you just did, because I don't know if it's come across this way or not, but these lessons have a life of their own. Energetically, they are alive. So that's why we have the seals. So once you finish the lesson, you get that seal. It closes that energy and mark it as a pass. I've passed it, so I'm moving on. But it's a building block. So it's almost like they're kind of showing me a video game where you pass one level and then you get the extension to go to the next level. Okay, but all of these are alive, and you're building on this life, this foundation. And you'll learn a little bit more in the beginning of book 2 about the energy of the words. We've talked before about why the words are the way they are in the book. Why aren't they precision of language? Why did I keep some of the ancient stuff from exactly the way it was channeled from Sir Edward with the lessons, and not change it grammatically or change whatever the Hierophant said? Because sometimes he talks almost like Spanish with the adjective after the noun. It's a weird kind of thing, but it's that way because the programming of it coming through, the energy of that word made manifest and then drawn in a letter form is a mathematical equation. So if you take the word and you put it in a different order, the equation totally changes. So it's like we're bringing to life energy from the universe through these words. So you're going to see more and more as you go further and further into the lessons that you're going to be going through your day and something in real life is going to overlay over top of the lessons or vice versa. And you're going to be saying to yourself, well, wait a minute, is this a lesson or is this real life? It's almost what was happening to you, Sean, with both of them coming into your consciousness, into your, maybe even to your vision at the same time. They're trying to get in because it's like two angels vying for you. Mm-hmm. They're trying to talk to you at once. And these lessons are trying to be learned. And you guys are on this accelerated path. Like we're in groundbreaking territory here. We've never done this before. The closest we've come to something like this is after all the angel knights had already done everything, right after the launch of book 1. And I believe it was 2 Easters ago when the first threat for President Kim in North Korea was going to be sending the rockets. We started as a group reading, not doing anything else, just reading 1 lesson a day. So for 29 days in a row, all of us read the same lesson within the same 24-hour period. And so that's the only time we've ever done something so condensed and compressed. And we've felt that energetically. So again, group 2, just be very mindful of your health state, energy-wise. If you get depleted or whatnot, just check in and see if it's a nutritional thing. Because I know that they're telling me, again, I have it on very high authority, you guys are quite capable of dealing with 2 lessons at a time. You've all been already exposed to these lessons energetically by being in this sacred circle. Because when you entered the group back in February, you entered at the lessons that you're going to be going through. So it's like a repeat. Energetically, you're going to have absorbed them. So I think you're going to be just fine. But again, if there's anybody has any glitches or problems, just please let me know and we'll work it through. Okay. Does anybody else want to talk about that subject before I move on? No? We good? Okay. All right. I'm going to, forgive me if I don't see you eye to eye. Can you still see me, Mara? Mara?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to try to flip over to these questions. First of all, Elaine, please don't let me forget at the very end, we'll dedicate the prayer for the school situation. Okay. That's one thing. The other thing is, let's see, you had asked a question. I'm going to answer the reincarnation question, but in addition, Elaine said, if the energy around us belongs to a guide and is from a long time ago, does this mean that that being's energy has been waiting possibly hundreds of years for expansion or help? Do they go from guiding one person to another if they are not able to elevate in a single human's lifetime, or can their energy be around for more than one human? All right, so let me start with, yes, they could be waiting for eons. Michaela, did you turn the lights on? Or they just appeared? Michaela's soul has been hanging in limbo for 25,000 years. Remember, if you remember back to some of the things Sir Edward has said in the group and what we've learned from Atlantis is when that spirit was cut in utero, the soul never came through. It was hanging there waiting. Okay? So that's something different. But the spirits, say if there's somebody back from Egyptian time, who had some issues that wants to elevate. Because remember, when we're here on this earth, this is our opportunity to learn and to gain that wisdom to be able to ascend. So if while they were on earth, they got, say, this much wisdom, and then they passed over and they saw, oh my gosh, there's all of this up there. And I'm only using the up there as an analogy for you guys to visualize this. All of this up there, and I don't understand any of it, so I can't get to it. Because while I was on earth, my understanding only went this far. It didn't go this far. So then that spirit line or individual spirit will ask to come back around an individual on earth, given the same set of circumstances or similar set of circumstances than that they had while they were on earth, to help guide that person. So if that person elevates more, the spirit's consciousness elevates more, or the understanding. Okay? So the spirit can keep asking to come back until it's satisfied. So it could be doing that over and over and over again. So that's why we have these feelings most of the time, that we have experienced past lives, because these spirits can work in us and through us and around us. So when I walked into Williamsburg, I was like, oh my gosh, I've been here before. But was I really? You know, there was something around me that had been, you know. So does that answer that question, Elaine, or was there, okay, good. So again, it's their choice to keep on coming back to elevate. All right. So to the biggie one, Joy's question. Let me make sure I've got it correct. Joy asked, I've been waiting a long time for this post. So since there are 6 billion souls added when the Christ transition, and now there are 7 billion people on earth, did another major event happen to make more souls? No, there are over 1 billion soulless people on this planet. Okay? There are only so many. So every time an angel night, this is one of the purposes way back when Sir Edward Michael was, when Michael was guiding him to level the sword to the shoulder of the children and the parents and the teachers that came to the programs. Every time a sword, an angel night sword, leveled to the shoulder of a soulless individual, a soul was guided to that individual. So it was given a soul due to the fact that that angel night had passed on that energy. Now, of the 6 billion souls in the well, those 6 billion are dying on a daily basis, thousands of them. So when that happens, those souls can be regenerated spiritually, but not soulfully. Like, that is a book on the shelf, like we've always talked about. Okay? But that means there's room for more individuals here on the planet. Now, the problem is humankind was never supposed to go over 3 billion max. Back when that event came and the Christ consciousness came, to the Christ gas came, there was allotted 6 billion because they had overpopulated and proliferated, just, you know, unfortunately, like fleas. We are fleas on Mother Earth at times because of what we've done. So then it went up to 6 billion. But it's our job as angel knights, because there's so many soulless people on the planet, that's what's thrown everything out of balance. Because they don't, I mean, you've all met them. You've all been at the grocery store or out in public, or you've seen on the news, like, what is that? How could somebody even say that or do that? That's why. There's nothing there. It's a shell of a humankind. And to get any deeper into the understanding, you wouldn't understand it anyway. And I'm not saying that to make small of it or make large of it. I'm saying that because right now at your level of understanding, hopefully that explanation will be enough to sink in And then with you working with the lessons and the angelic energies around you, you will understand further. Does that make sense, Joy? Okay. The other thing, like even some people who are coming forward now in the groups, they're coming forward. Some of them are old souls. Some of them are soulless, but they're drawn for a reason. And it's our job to create and help that energy shift. Okay. All right. Now, so are you understanding the whole why reincarnation stopped and why new souls began? Or does somebody need explanation of that? Anybody? Where is Jane and Greg? Greg's not here yet, is he? Can you unmute yourself? It's Jane.
It should be any moment.
Okay.
Shortly.
All right. We'll see if we can come back to that. But I'll wait till he gets here to see if anybody else wants clarification about that. And then we'll go from there. Sarah, I wonder if narcissists are soulless. No, that's just a psychological problem. I mean, that can happen. That can happen. That's ego. You know, any human has that ego. All right. So let's see here. I think I covered that part. Did I miss any other questions on that? The past lives. It is, Doc came to me and said it was a little bit confusing the way the lesson went from the Hierophant talking about being with his student and then talking about Jesus, because Jesus came obviously well after the Hierophant, because that was 2,000 years, 2018 years from when we are right now, but Atlantis was 25,000 years ago. So the reason that happened was because the channel that the Hierophant was giving Sir Edward gave him that story. And then remember, the channel experienced everything from 25,000 years to now. So he pulled through the story of the Christ consciousness and the Jesus, the reincarnation concept at that point. Does that make sense now? Do you guys understand why that was like that? Thumbs up? Or do I need to go in any further? Okay, you got it. Cool. Awesome. All right, so let's go in here. Mara, you wanted to know about the tie-in with the mandalas, the talisman, and the amulet. Can you expand on what you mean by that? What did you?
I just had an experience of when I started working in the glass, and because it's actually crystalline, it spoke to me. And as I would create the works, I would get guidance that they were then carrying, to be careful about what I was thinking about when I was working in glass, that they were carrying thought and intention, and that I could create them for people as a healing gift. So that just reminded me a lot of the talismans and amulets.
Right.
So I just wondered if there's.
Totally. A mandala is ancient, obviously ancient in origin, and you can, like you've been doing, you can do one for yourself, but you can definitely work with clients or friends and do those mandalas for them. Like those pictures I put up of what my daughter just did on glass ornaments in paint. She thought of a person, bam, a picture comes, and you put it down. Now, that is an imprint of the energy or something that person needs to work with. And especially like with you working with glass, you're right, the silica it's a quartz. So just like when we take these quartz crystals that we're working with and we put thought into them, Sir Edward has programmed them, Michael has programmed, Eru's put stuff in, and then when we utilize them, we do have to be mindful of our thoughts because they're power. And remember, these devices are powerful by themselves, but the ultimate thing here is through these lessons, You are all exercising your minds. You're giving your minds a workout so that as your mind expands and grows and on the path to the greater understanding, you're going to be able to utilize that little device, that little bell crystal, a lot differently 2 months down the road than you are now, because your mind is expanding. And that's why it's so critical to do these lessons and so critical to follow as much of the direction as you possibly can. Do you have to do it to the T? It's best, but your intention is everything. And the more you put into the lessons, the more your mind will gain that greater understanding, and the stronger your mind will be to be able to properly navigate and work the pyramids, the boards, and the crystal devices. Like we've said before, yeah, that board's just a piece of styrofoam with a bunch of wires and washers on it, and you're sticking a bunch of crystals on it. It could mean nothing to anyone, but it could mean the world if you know how to use it. And what's happening now is, as you're going through these steps, each mission we have, each time Sir Edward posts something and he says to move the crystals here or do this with that, you may not really totally understand what's happening, but you're accepting it and you're doing it, and you're gaining the pathways of the energies, so that eventually when he says there's a mission tonight, 10 of you will go get the board and immediately know where to put the crystals without anyone saying anything. The ultimate goal is to say, hey, I hear there's a mission tonight. Is that correct, Sir Edward? Before he even posts it. And have everything ready and know what to do with it. And you'll all get there. And there's no one better or worse because someone's gotten there before. We're all on this journey together. But eventually you're going to know exactly what to do with everything. But it doesn't come from wishing it. And it doesn't come from wanting it. And it doesn't come from just having the book by your bedside so that as you fall asleep at night, it's right there. It comes from opening the book, doing the lessons, and becoming the lesson in your life. Like Sean said earlier, chaos is around her. She feels it. And that's the time, that's the most important time to call on these lessons and make sure they're at the forefront of everything you do every single day. We just had this discussion around the round table today, and like I told the volunteers, the Angel Knights that were here, one of the best analogies that I've ever, I think, given people is when you wake up in the morning, when you pull your pants on and you pull your shirt on, pull your angel on. Pull them on from here down, like you're pulling on a big old body tunic. So that as you're going through your life, you're not seeing through the human's eyes alone. You're seeing through the human's eyes and the energy of the angel. I mean, you can literally say, like, Raphael, come on, come around me. And then that way, you're going to constantly be getting insight and guidance along the way. Any questions on that part? No? Greg, I see you're here. Do you have any questions about the reincarnation or any comments and any clarification that you want? Because I saw the conflict there in the essay. Which this isn't new. I mean, this has been conflict since like, what, back in September of 2017?
Yeah, I guess I haven't been convinced about it, and I'm not any further along than I was back then.
Okay, what do you want to be convinced about, or what do you think someone's trying to convince you about?
That it exists. That it's
okay. Okay. Well, it kind of doesn't exist anymore. So that's what I'm confused about, because reincarnation, and here goes the greater understanding. This is the way I can explain it at this point so you guys understand, because everything is plastic and things can change in an instant. If somebody does something over in China and Trump responds to it, and then this person does that and that person does that, everything that is said to you in a channel is like me taking a Polaroid picture, and then as soon as you move, everything changes. So know that going into this understanding. Reincarnation at the time of the Old Testament was a thing. Remember the old saying, the sins of the father are on the son. And the reason why the sins of the father were on the son was because when the father had offspring, and then those offspring had offspring, once the older ancestors had passed and the new child came in, and I think that, and they're telling me to say this, I don't know how many of you ever heard that within a year of a death of a family member, a child is usually born within the family. Okay, that's a very old cultural thing. And just mark and remember it and watch it. You'll see that you'll hear about that. But anyway, they wanted me to say that. So when the ancestor died and the new life was born into the family, that new life carried all the karma of these ancestors. And what the Creator saw, remember, this is an experiment. We are an experiment. And what the Creator saw was that the burden of carrying those sins, if you want to call them sins or deeds, sometimes good, sometimes bad, was weighing too heavy on that new life. And that new life couldn't like claw its way out from underneath of all that to make anything of that present life it had. So that's why the Christ energy was planted or given to one soul, Jesus Christ, at that time. And he died for our sins. And these are all metaphors that the Bible has written. But what he really did was he erased the slate. So that at that point was when the new number of souls in the well was created. So that each child that came had a new soul. Maybe the same spirit line. Maybe the same spirit, but a new soul. Fresh new soul. Unencumbered by anything anyone in the past had done. Now, there are times where old souls still come into this world. And there's a reason they're coming into the world, and we'll get into that later. But once Jesus was born, the reconciliation was created. We now had our way back to God because everything was pristine with a new life form that came. Does that make any sense? Are you there, Greg?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So is that helpful for what you're saying or not helpful?
It explains part of it, yeah, that things that I'm aware of. But I don't accept parts of it, the wells of souls and parts of what you said as being, in my experience, true yet. Other parts I can see, that sort of align with what I've known.
Okay. So number one, everyone here is 100% allowed, if you want to call it, or do whatever you want as far as your belief is concerned. No one's trying to convince you of anything. All we want everyone to do is have your belief system and just set it aside for a minute and be open to what is being said. Okay? So that way you can merge your beliefs like you just did. I believe some of it, other parts of it I don't understand. My question to you is, in your experience about the Well of Souls, what's your experience with the Well of Souls?
Well, this was the first I've heard of it through the book and through the class. Before, I never heard of the Wells of Souls, and so I don't really have a context for it.
Okay. All right. Well, part of what the Bible dances around with it a little bit, but it's all metaphors. Remember, it's metaphors. And sometimes what's channeled through is the energy of many different well, the energy that's channeled through comes down to earth and is channeled by the people on earth and created many different belief systems. Because within all of our belief systems, there's common threads. And if you would outline it, in book 2, when Sir Edward and the Angel Knights go to Spirit Fest, the whole purpose of Spirit Fest was not just to accept the apology from Russell Means about the atrocities Russell was supposed to accept Sir Edward's apologies about the atrocities that mankind inflicted upon the Native Americans. The biggest reason it happened was because we brought all the religions together. Every one of them. Even Satanists. And I had in the book 24 pages detailing each one of the religions. And if you would listen to each head of the religion, Sir Edward called them the hierophants of the religion, because they were the head of their religion, like the priest, the rabbi, the imam, the Sufi, I could go down the list. Each one of them, there was a representative of each one of those religions that came and spoke. And if you would read all 24 pages, they were saying the same thing. It's mind-blowing. But some of the way they were delivered was a little ego-filled. Okay? Which we expect, because it's mankind who or scribed all the great books. So if their filter wasn't clear, what you're having on paper to read is not clear. The only clarity, and this is another thing that we talked about today at the table, the only clarity that's ever existed on this planet are the ascended masters. And that's why they ascended, because they were clear, perfectly clear channels and understood the truth. Because what I explained to everyone here as an example today, you have two individuals in a relationship, say a husband and wife, say two friends, say a head of a religion and a parishioner. There's two lives there. This life has a perspective and this life has a perspective. They are not the same, nor can they be the same unless they ascend to a master level and see the ultimate truth. And so when you put these two together, there's a third thing. It becomes the life. You got the person, you got the life of the relationship. So between any two people, there are 3 perspectives. Minimum. 3 perspectives. None of them have the truth. The higher power has the truth that's looking at it. But all 3 of those lives have a filter, because we've been programmed since birth to have that filter. And what you all are doing right now in these classes is you're trying to chip away at that filter. Not to change who you are, not to change your beliefs, but to expand your mind to the greater understanding of why and where all this comes together. So I know it's really difficult, and I applaud all of you, but I applaud you as well, Greg, for still doing what we're doing despite not totally grasping, say, this concept. But I'm sure that along the way, everybody's going to ooch somewhere along the way. Some people didn't like the astral projection. Some people didn't like looking at themselves. Okay? But being open to all of that is really important. And that's the only important thing. You just don't discount it. Just be open to all of it. Is that helping at all, Greg? Or
Yeah, that helps.
Okay, cool. You want to say anything more after that, or?
No.
Okay, all right.
We're good.
Cool. All right, cool.
Yay.
All right, thank you. All right, so as far as spirit line, souls, I know that this is going to come up as a lesson coming down the road because just I know it's going to it's going to come up again, especially with a new group coming in. There's going to be bumps and jumps about it because people just think they know. And here's a mind blower. I threw out the question because I'm who I am to everybody at the table today. I said, we're all aligning with the angelic energies and the wisdom and the consciousness. What if we're wrong? Okay? There's always another side. Okay? You just have to know and be open to it. When I see or hear anything that happens with someone, especially especially stuff on the news, I hear somebody did something wrong or somebody did something right. I don't know whether it's the way my brain was wired, but I immediately think about the opposite of what they're saying. If somebody, and here we work with helping protect children, but if I hear that a teacher or a police officer did something wrong, like molest a child or did something inappropriate, I'm immediately going, okay, are they sure? What happened to lead up to that? I don't want to point a finger first until I know the ultimate truth. Okay, there's always another side to everything. And that's all I want you guys to understand is whatever Sir Edward says, whatever Master Eru says, whatever I say, don't swallow any of it unless it's yours. Sit with it. Everything we say, and Sir Edward had this saying where treat what I say like food, put it in your mouth, taste it, chew it up. If you like it, swallow it. If you don't, spit it out. But if you like it and swallow it, you're going to start to say it to someone. And when you say it to someone, you're going to say it your way, not just the way it was taught to you. Because why? Because you have a filter. Okay? Did I confuse anybody, or are we still understanding that? All right. Anybody have any questions before I go on? Oh, Charlene says I play devil's advocate. Yeah, that's me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just don't like I'm like, with Greg. That's why I appreciate your opinion with that, and everyone else's who had questions about it, because I don't swallow everything hook, line, and sinker. I question, and not question to question people, but I need the answers, because the answers are the only way that I'm going to be able to make sense of anything, to be able to say anything to someone else, to be able to teach, to be able to be that role model, to be able to emulate that when I go out. I don't even have to say a word. My energy speaks volumes. So we do have to ask the questions. It's when we sit back and question for the wrong reasons because we think we know. So, all right. Any more from that? No? Okay. Let's see. I wanted Mary. I thought it was a really shocking revelation that you were married during the time of Jesus. That was pretty funny. Group one had to do their past life, the mandala, to go back in time and see themselves. And it's pretty fascinating what some of you come up with. Robert, could you go over what happened with you? I was really intrigued by the image you saw in the cave with the body and what you did afterwards, because that's kind of part of our lessons.
Am I on?
Part of our lessons. Yeah, you're on.
Okay. So in the meditation, I was taken to this cave. It was like a bunch of blue and purple crystals. And when I went into it, there was a body there, and I was told that this was the first body that I'd ever had. It was huge. It was 18, 20 feet tall. But it's like it was just frozen in time. It hadn't decomposed at all. It was like just waiting, sort of like a suspended animation. Now, I was told that it was basically I shouldn't try to reactivate it, because it was, I had abandoned that, basically left that body for a reason, because there was too many other things that I had done that I didn't need to revisit, if you will.
Yeah.
But I was given the opportunity to kind of sink back into that body and take back sort of the positive stuff that was left over. Like a whole new energy pattern, whole new, like a mental pattern, I guess. Not really sure. I'm still working through what that all is. I'm not really sure what it's about, but I was able to bring that back, and it was a very quick experience.
How long ago when did you do this, last week?
Yeah.
Okay. Because interestingly enough, what they're telling me is you actually skipped ahead, sort of, kind of, to this week's, until 29's meditation. Have you listened to it yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So for those of you in group 1, so that I can explain, because Doc had a question, you're going to be taken on a journey to meet your higher self. And your higher self is all that you've ever done that's good, positive, okay? And she's going to hand you a book. And the book is not your book of life, okay? It's a book of your karma, a karma from this life, okay? And so it's all of maybe the things that are borderline or not so perfect as you've done in this life. And you're going to revisit that. But you're going to have the opportunity to merge with your higher self. And I see what you did when you laid down upon that body in the cave. You did them both at the same time. You left behind what was in the book, but you pulled that energetic, that golden energy thread that you were talking about, that wave of energy, and you pulled all the good things forward so that you can utilize that tool. Okay. So anyway, I just wanted to take that opportunity to tell, group 1 what to expect. Don't freak out because it's not your book from the Akashic Records, because that does not exist yet. You're living it. It's just that separation of the two things. So now that I said that, do you want to expand on anything more about your experience?
Well, I mean, like, it was interesting because that golden energy that I had picked up, it was almost like lightning going through. Like, if I was to look at it, it'd be like 6 bands of lightning going out, like from head to groin, legs and arms. But it was very scattered, but if I focused on it, I could bring it into a calm whole. But it took a lot of concentration to do that. But I was kind of thinking, I think I put this in the letter, that it feels like it should be second nature.
Right, it should be. See, that's what you're all working for. You're all working for that. Why it felt so hard? It was like if any of you were going to go to the gym to pick up a 50-pound weight, the first time you pick it up is like, it's really hard. But if you continue to do it, if you go in every 3rd day and you pick up that weight, you're going to get stronger and it's going to be easier. It's going to become second nature. Okay, so that's what you're doing. They gave me the name of it, and then it went because I didn't stop and write it down. Cosmic something. Hopefully they'll come back. But it is that electromagnetic force field. It's the EMF that flows through you. And yes, you can control it and you can do things with it. This is what we're trying to tap into. And with the expansion and the exercising of this mind, this big organ up here, not so much the brain, but the mind, you can get to that point where you can work with it more readily. Okay. Cool. Thank you, Robert.
Yep.
Jennifer. Are you unmuted?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So first of all, is Sam there?
Barely.
Okay. Does he have anything he wants to say to us? Sam, do you have anything you want to say to us? What piece of amazing wisdom can you tell us?
Do you have anything to say?
What does he call you, Jennifer?
Ducky.
What is Ducky awesome?
Do you love Ducky?
He's
He
very quiet.
talks all the time. I don't know why he's being quiet.
It's just his energy here is perfect. What I want to tell your Ducky is that she's absolutely awesome. You're totally amazing, and you're powerful beyond measure.
Thank you.
But I can say that, and each person here can say that to you, and until you believe it, it's not going to work for you.
Right.
You have
Yeah.
to believe it. You have to
I know.
show up every single day.
I'm working on it.
It's been a bad couple weeks energetically for people. A lot of depression and anxiety have come through. It's just been, Mercury retrograde. This is like the last one of the year. And every single time it went retrograde, it's been in a fire sign. So that can whack people out right there, So you only have a couple more weeks left, or less than 2 weeks, I think. So that could be, weighing on you as well. But just like, have you ever seen the Christmas movie, Santa Claus is Coming to Town?
I'm sorry.
The child's Christmas classic, Santa Claus is Coming to Town?
Mm-hmm.
Winter Warlock. Remember the Winter Warlock on the mountain?
Mm-hmm.
All he said was, you put one foot in front of the other. And soon you'll be walking out the door.
Right.
Get that song in your head. Put one foot in front of the other. Okay?
Okay.
That's all you need to do. And know that you have all these people behind you. We're
I'm
not,
very thankful for that.
not going to lose you, and you're not going to lose yourself.
Okay.
All right. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now hug that baby boy.
I will.
Yeah, and drink lots of water, like Mary said. Drink lots of water. All right.
Mary.
Did I cover everything I needed to cover? It's almost 5:52. Does anybody have any question before we do a prayer for Elaine's the situation in Florida? Charlene.
We don't have to cover this right now, but I just had mentioned that in the previous classroom, when I wasn't there, you said you had a question or a statement to make about my SEP essay, and that you would follow up, but we didn't get to do that. Okay, and that's
that might be that when that channel broke. I don't know. I'd have to go back and see. I don't know that one.
That's right. I may not have wanted to hear it anyway.
You might not have. But yeah, I'm glad you brought up the you said something about the schedule, the essay. Again, I want to make sure everybody is clear with group 2. You can do as the essays or as the lessons open, you're going to do one lesson 1 week and then the next one the next week. If that works for you, I think that's best to concentrate that way. This is the last lesson for group 1. So you guys starting on, when do we come back? Is it December 8th, Mara? Is that the next time? I don't know. Or is it 12th? Does anybody know? Let me get my calendar up here real quick.
It's 12th.
Is it 12th? Okay. So starting on December 12th, and I'm gonna come up with a way to do this that we can do it together. Group 1, all of us will be doing something similar to our text thread that we do with our angel reading. We're all going to start on December 12th, reading lesson 1 and doing a practice. And then lesson 2, practice. And we're going to do it 29 days in a row. I'll get you in is that Maura? I'll get you in a second. So I want you to be mentally prepared for this. It's going to be like boot camp, but we're going to do it. And it should be second nature. So you should be reading and the meditation 1 through 29 back to back. Okay, so just get that in your head. Even on Christmas Day, we're not skipping Christmas Day. Important day as well. Okay. And then Group 2 will be just doing their lessons as they come. They're automatically going to be released. They're all up in your classroom space right now. And as they, as the day comes, they'll be released for you. And then I'll check in with you every once in a while to make sure everything's okay. Maura, you had a question?
And this again, maybe me with technology.
Okay.
But I didn't get, it was like the day I got the message that the essays were due, I hadn't seen anywhere the questions, like what essay we're supposed to do. So where am I supposed to be going to see this? Because like I get a message and then I'm like, oh, okay, so here's the essay question. Because I can do the reading myself, right? But when you're saying your classroom space, where is it?
So you've never gone into Google Class?
I don't think so. I don't think I know how or where it is.
How are you getting all the meditations and all of the instructions?
Once I get that thing that tells me, like I get an email message, then I click on it and then I can open everything. I know it's probably me. I don't know. I may not just do things.
Okay, so a couple people have been telling me that. I don't know if Google Classroom changed something and is not sending out these emails anymore.
I don't get them.
Okay.
I don't get it till you say your thing is due tomorrow, and then I immediately click on it, and I can have already done the stuff by reading, but I don't see it. And sorry, and I feel like I used to do it earlier.
You should go to. This is a good. I'm glad you brought this up because this is a problem a lot of people were having. Don't go through the emails anymore.
Okay.
We have a favorites. Or a place you go to, it's called Google Classroom.
Yeah.
And you should, like you originally, gosh, I guess I'm going to have to send out an invitation to the codes again, right, Mara? If they've not done that before?
Well, what I was going to say is, I teach online in other forums. Part of being an online learner is where the space is and you have it in your practice to go to the space with or without the reminders. So we can go back through that. I could do a quick. Anyway, Maura, I'm glad to help you do that. But the space is there.
It looks like a lot of other people aren't seeing it either. If you look at all the comments people are making.
Well, wait, they're just saying they're not getting the reminders. But what I'm trying to say is, as an online learner, it's your responsibility, with or without reminders, to go in and check on your work.
See, I just assumed that everybody knew how to get into that classroom space. So Maura, so when you go, you only see one lesson at a time. You don't see the whole classroom?
No.
Oh, okay. So then we need to get you how to do that. Raise your hand if that's the same way with anybody. Anybody else just? No, I think June was having that problem too. She's written me a couple times. June, yeah. So it's actually, you can do it two ways. You can get an app on your phone called Google Classroom. I have a hard time navigating the app. I do it on my computer, but I have a favorites thing. It says Google Classroom, and I click there and everything's there. So it'll come up for you. It'll say GoodKnight University, I believe, or GoodKnight Google. I can't remember exactly what it says. And then the other group is Angel Knights. So there's two separate groups. In February, you'll all have the same group. I'm going to merge those groups. So we'll make sure, maybe can do a little video tutorial. And then what I'm going to have to do, so I'll send out the class invitation code again somehow. And
sorry. I have
when
this.
you go to it, then you have to put the class invitation code.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I downloaded that. I just don't think I knew how to use it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a little bit more challenging, but all right. Well, so we'll take care of that part. All right. Anybody else have any more questions on any of the lessons? Monique?
From any browser, you can type in classroom.google.com without using an app.
There you go. Did you hear her? Monique, can you do me a favor and type that right over in the messages too, so that it'll stay with the chat, and then anybody can refer back to it too.
Yes, I typed it there.
Oh, cool. Thank you. All right. Are we all good, everyone? Anyone? Elaine, unmute yourself. So tell us what's going on.
Well, can you guys hear me?
Mhm.
Okay. I picked up my son from middle school, 4 o'clock, a little after, and I pick up he and a friend, and I sense everything. They were quiet. And he had sent me a text in the day, like around lunchtime, and he said, "Can you pick me up early today?" And that right there, I was like, I was like, either he did something, he was going to get in trouble for. He didn't do something he was supposed to do, or something's up. So then when I picked them up, he and his friend had this quiet energy, and I asked the girl, I'm like, "What's up? Are you okay?" And she was like, "I'm fine," but I knew otherwise. And long story short is he told me what I put there in the comment for if you guys didn't see it. He told me that an 8th grade student was able to enter their school, their middle school, with a gun in his backpack. And there are 2 police officers there, not 24/7, but the school hours, they're there. And that obviously made them very nervous and uncomfortable, because why would, I'm nervous too, my phone is shaking in my hand. Why would they have to worry about that with 2 officers on campus? So I don't know how they found out, if it was like a friend who told a friend, but he made some kind of comment about, if it's not today, then it'll be Friday. And I guess whoever reported him to the principal or the authorities there, and I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was loaded. I have no idea. But that is even more close for comfort than the situation in Parkland, which is like literally across the street from me, in February. So, we're all parents and children. We're obviously concerned, and I feel much better equipped to deal with it now than February. I'm happy to say, but it's unnerving.
So despite all of the questions about the logistics of it, we're gonna put those to the side, because that's not going to help. I mean, I have a bazillion questions about it, but I'm going to let that go. My questions to you is, energetically, does that school have crystals around it?
Yes, Luke, we did during that mission. We put a crystal right on the ground. I think even before that in February, I placed another crystal right on the ground.
Does Luke have an amulet?
He does not.
Do you have an amulet?
I do.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to give the amulet to Luke. Okay. And that amulet will protect not just Luke, but everybody in the school.
Okay.
Okay. So what number's on your amulet?
78.
Okay. All right. Okay. Mainly, what it appears to be is that whatever was going to happen has been thwarted again. Okay. But it's already planted that seed of fear. And that's really the disease. That's really the thing that is going to harm anyone else that will allow it to harm them. And they're very innocent. And obviously, because it's like really too close for comfort because of what's happened before, they prey on the fear. Okay. Mm-hmm. So with that amulet, we're going to close the day with a prayer and a bubble. I'm going to put a torus of energy around the school. And Luke is actually the amulet. Have him wear it like at heart level, like sternum, like under his shirt. And that amulet is going to radiate out the energy of the torus around the whole school. So everybody should feel is calm. It should actually just kind of quell any fear associated with the situation. Okay. Because that's really what we have to do.
Right.
We can't, play into it. I know it's, obviously, really crazy. I mean, it sounds stupid. Michaela just said we had a tornado drill at school today. And I'm like, really? And she goes, yeah, what's it going to help if we're crouching in front of our lockers that are going to fly off the wall in a tornado drill? So instead of just going through the motions, they're not explaining to them. Again, here's this understanding. We have to have a greater understanding. So if we in ourselves stay centered in purpose and always with love, even when that fear comes at us, we can push it back.
Right.
We don't let it absorb into us. Okay. So do you want to say anything else before I start the prayer?
No, like I said, I'm surprisingly calmer than I thought. So I'm just trying to do exactly what you're saying. Be the light and just keep him calm and, do what we can energetically. You're calm because it's not, you're calm because nothing's going to happen. You've got this.
We've got this. Okay? So, that's part of what you have to know it in your body, mind, and soul. Even if sometimes we don't believe it, because of all the things you've been doing all these months, you've been telling yourself this. We've got this. This is okay. And so now you're not vibrating the same way you would have before, because before you didn't know you had it or that we had it. We've got your back. We've got this. Okay?
Right.
All right.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And thank you for bringing it to our attention. All right, everyone. So it's 6:06. I'm going to go ahead and close this session. And as I close the session, we're going to send a spiral torus of energy down to, what's the name of the school? Oh, I'm sorry. I can't hear you. You got to unmute again.
Lions Creek Middle School.
Lions Creek Middle School. Lions Creek Middle School. I will forget that. Lions Creek Middle School. Okay. All right, everyone. Just start to take some nice deep breaths. On your next breath, make it the longest, strongest, deepest breath you've taken all day, and then push it out with great force. Dear Mother, Father, God, creator of all things, we are so grateful for your presence here, for the presence of all the archangels and ascended masters of peace and light and healing. We are grateful for each and every one of us in attendance in this sacred circle. But now it's time to focus this great energy that we've been amassing. Luke will be wearing the amulet number 78 at his heart, starting tonight before bed. A torus of energy, of white light, will emulate from the amulet as it comes from the center of this sacred circle, and all these angel knights pouring their white light into that amulet. The white light will come up through Luke's throat, heart chakra, and out his crown. Wherever he goes, the torus will gain strength, growing stronger and stronger, protecting all he comes in contact with. As he walks into Lions Creek Middle School, he will be the epicenter, the protector, the guardian. But he won't be alone. He has every angel knight with him. May they be protected. May they stay safe. May they have courage beyond measure. But most of all, may they have the awareness that they are the light. They are the seeds of tomorrow. And this is their world. And it's time to stand strong. And so it is, and so we are, and so it shall be. Amen. Deepest peace and love to all of you. Have a great 2 weeks, and I'll see you on the 12th.